Welcome to 21st Century Music Theory. We hope to help everyone today. Today's musicians, tomorrow's musicians acquire a vocabulary and skills. So today we're going to talk about reading music and what we need to do to learn to read music.
Okay, so first we want to have a motivation. In other words, is there something that we want to learn to play, music from another era, maybe classical composers, musical theater, jazz, popular music from other eras, or maybe even music from our own era, but what we want to do is take something that is written in notation format and convert it into musical vibration.
Right. And if I wanted to be a studio musician or something, they hand me the music, I can learn it a lot faster. I can pick up on the session better than someone who's just playing by ear.
Yeah, right, exactly. Imagine I'm in a rock band, the bass player gets sick, and we have 3 hours to find a new bass player. The only person that's going to pull that off is someone who can take musical notation, convert it into vibration, versus someone else who would have to learn it by ear, which takes hours and hours. So learning to read music speeds up the process of being an accomplished musician. You'll need to learn some basic skills covered in prior videos in order to learn to read music.
Make sure you understand musical form and roadmaps.
Before you play a piece, it should be clear where we're going. The sonographing we did before was how we graphed out the form of a piece of music we heard. Now we need to do the same when we're reading a piece of music. Where are the repeats, the endings, the DSs, the codas?
Practice identifying pitches in both treble and bass clef.
You'll want to learn to do this in real time, eventually with a metronome, pushing you so that pitch identification is automatic. Remember, soon you're going to be attaching rhythms to pitches, so pitch identification needs to be really quick.
Practice sounding out reading rhythms, first in common time, then in diverse meters.
We start out by sounding rhythms out. Then we use the metronome and learn to slowly increase the speed and diversity of meters and rhythmic mass systems we can be comfortable with until we've covered all the variables in the horizon of our musical goals. That is, the styles of music and the meters that are most used in the music we play.
Practice location of pitches on piano or your instrument.
Yes, study the location of each pitch in the clefs you use, and their location, in some cases, multiple locations on your instruments. This will save lots of time later on.
Enhance fingering and pitch location technique by learning to play all major and minor scales and keys on your instrument.
Vocalists and professional musicians especially should make sure that they have knowledge of keyboard pitches, scales, and keys. What playing scales does? It gives us the location of pitches on our instrument, helps us understand key signatures, and provides the fingering or performance practices we'll need for melody and harmony in each key later.
So now we have the basic music skills for reading music. So what now?
Yeah, so the key here is there isn't only one way to read music. So depending upon who your teachers are or what your goals are, there's many ways to do it. But there are some steps that are generally essential to develop music reading discipline. That is hand-eye coordination to convert musical notation that we're seeing, keep our concentration and focus on that musical notation while we create vibration on whatever instrument we're playing.
Okay. Step 1, select a piece that is within your reach.
Yeah, pick a piece that matches the time you have to commit to reading, your interest in music, and your experience or abilities. Picking something too difficult might frustrate or sabotage your progress. Picking something you have no interest in, that just might bore you.
Step 2, study the piece for form, roadmap, meter, key signature, and anything that's unfamiliar.
Like with driving a car, knowing where you are going and how to get there before you start driving pays dividends. So scan the music for unfamiliar aspects, unfamiliar techniques. Remember, as you learn to read music, you will automatically do this.
Step 3, sound out the rhythms before playing.
As you have more command with rhythms, you might just scan and look for unfamiliar rhythms. But initially, sound out all the rhythm of each piece before you put your hands on the piano or on the instrument, usually 4 to 8 measures at a time. Remember, if you don't know the rhythm before you start playing the piece, you will create your own rhythms. Now try and get a wrong rhythm out of your head once you've practiced it. That's tough stuff.
Step 4, combine pitch and rhythm slowly using a metronome.
The important point here is to learn to find a pace at which you can focus on the notation Read the pitches without looking at the instrument, and trust your hands and eyes to play the pitches again without changing and shifting where you're looking. No adult wants to play tedious and slowly. No adult wants to take the time to learn this regiment slowly as well. We want to play music as it is at the tempo it wants. That's what drove us into music. Just remember, if you practice reading music correctly, slowly and disciplined, for a time, you will advance to the state of being able to read music in real time more quickly, which is the ultimate goal. So, a quick note for piano playing, and really this is actually true of playing all instruments. Piano teachers or applied teachers in your instrument are really a help. You need to have piano instruction at some point to go ahead and help you develop your piano skills in particular. Find one that you believe understands and can help you towards your goals, help you get the fingerings that are accurate, and eventually learn how to interpret and reinsert musicality into the piece. But just remember, initially, the discipline of reading music is not about the musicality. It's literally about hand-eye coordination, training your brain to focus on one thing while you're learning to go ahead and in a disciplined manner go ahead and create the notation into vibration. Play 4 measures slowly with the right hand, then repeat until you can move close to the tempo of the piece. Then move on to the next 4 measures, doing the same thing. Then go back and connect the first portion with the second until you are fluent. In other words, slow down the process. Do just a little bit at a time and make sure you keep the pace of music and the pace of practice to what you can accomplish with a metronome. Now you might do the same with the bass clef. Every once in a while, taking a break to go back and review what you did with the right hand and then finally combine them.
Music reading is a clear process of small steps. If we take them small and slow, we can build consistent reading discipline.
Yeah, just remember, follow the steps, work with the metronome. Try not to make the playing of the music the goal, but rather trusting ourselves to develop the discipline of converting notation into vibration. It'll pay lots of dividends later. Practice the process.